You are enough. You are enough as a person, as a human being, as a professional, as a dad, as a mom, as a brother, as a friend. You are enough.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Can't Stop the Growth. I'm Chad Peterman, and today we have a special episode hosted by our COO here at Peterman Brothers, Mr. Andrew Hasty. Andrew spent a ton of time in the educational space and has a ton of insight into leadership, motivation, and helping others learn. We hope you enjoy his stuff from a future leaders session that we run here at Peterman Brothers. Take a listen and let us know what you think.
For those of us that follow along at home, we are diving into commitment 12, which is it's an interesting one. The way these line up when Chad and I have to swap places, and it just seems like the topics we cover are really natural to conversations we've had and personal things we've struggled with. Dan brought up and asked if I was going to talk about World War II, and there is a really strong connection when you think about enough to scarcity and abundance, but we're not going to dive into that connection today, unfortunately. So this may come as a shock to a lot of people, but I was an athlete. I did the sports, and people, when they learn that now, I don't know what it is that I've done to my image to promote anything different, but are always surprised when they found out that I played quarterback growing up, because Chad's like the sports guy and he gives the sports analogies, and I give the World War II and the nerdy analogies. But most of my life, both my parents are teachers, and I really embraced both this athletic world and this like academia world. And I think in true fashion of the combination of both, Varsity Blues was a favorite movie of mine in high school. Like you had Jonathan Moxon, the backup quarterback, for those of you unfamiliar with the teen movie Varsity Blues. But there's this scene, I must have watched that movie like my junior year of high school, like every day. And there's this scene where Mox is on the sideline, and he's got the playbook in front of him, and then the ball comes over and he's like sitting down, and an errant pass comes and he picks up the ball and just absolutely like rifles it back to the official, who like catches it in his gut, and it knocks the wind out of him. But if you pause that moment when he is in his playbook, you'll actually see that he has a book inside of the playbook, and he's reading a book that's called Slaughterhouse-Five, which is written by the great Kurt Vonnegut, which at the time was shocking to me, wanting to be an academic type person, to realize that Kurt Vonnegut is from Indianapolis, which is wild. If you ever get into his books, they are weirdly awesome. It is an experience like none other. Jared one time said, I never know where you're taking the conversation, but you somehow tend to weave it together. So Kurt Vonnegut, right, an established author during his time, he was buddies with this other author who wrote this book called Catch-22. His name's Joseph Heller. And the two of them got invited to this party that was hosted by this billionaire out in New York, on Shelter Island. Think like Great Gatsby, like mansions, a lot of wealth. I think this guy was like a hedge fund manager. And like Joseph Heller and Kurt Vonnegut are talking to one another. And Kurt Vonnegut turns to Joseph and he says, like, how does it make you feel to know that just yesterday, the day alone, the gentleman hosting this party made more money in a single day than you made in all of your book sales for Catch-22? And Joseph kind of stops for a second, and he's like pondering, and he says, I've got something he can never have. And Kurt Vonnegut's like, okay, well, what? And Joseph Heller says, I got the knowledge that I've got enough. I've got the knowledge that I got enough. I have enough time. I have enough money. I have enough love. I have enough support. I have enough. Our perspective of enough, it shapes our leadership. It the energy of our team. It shapes ultimately the success of our business. And I want to be very clear that enough doesn't mean be lazy. It has nothing to do with work ethic, right? It doesn't mean that we shouldn't relentlessly pursue our goals, that we shouldn't take a play off. Enough is essentially, I think, especially us being Americans, where we are conditioned from the time that we are born that there are have and have nots, and we need to make sure that we're in the group of haves. It's a binary concept, which we see doesn't work very well. I think we're seeing that in our political atmosphere in this country right now. The binary approach, I don't think really works very well. It just creates more of this sort of disparity between groups, right? But that's what we do. We pursue to have. I have to have more. I have to have a bigger house. I have to have more money. I need more time. I don't have enough time. And so when you look at it, what's happening is you have these two competing ideas. I wanted to say ideologies there, but I think there's ideas, right? It's the scarcity mindset and then the abundance mindset, right? So scarcity mindset is, let me just focus on what's missing. What do I not have? What do I not have enough of? It's scarcity. It's limited resource. I don't have enough texts. I don't have enough leads. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough hours in the day. What scarcity promotes, right, is two things: competition in a bad way, because now we're all struggling for a limited set of resources, right? And then the other thing that it promotes is fear because of that. I'd also argue probably is what promotes comparison. Because I don't have enough, I'm comparing myself to my neighbor. I'm comparing myself to the guy I went to high school or college with. I'm comparing myself to the person down the street. I'm comparing myself to my colleague in a similar role. The abundance mindset doesn't create fear. It doesn't create competition. It doesn't create really what's short-term emotional thinking. Abundance sees that there's always enough to do what we need to do. There's enough to lead. There's enough to decide. There's enough to move forward. We have enough. What does that promote? It promotes openness. It promotes creativity. It promotes collaboration. It promotes sustainable success. Because you can get short-term success from a scarcity mindset. I mean, it's even a sales tactic. We use the law of scarcity when we go into a customer's home, right? We limit the options after they've gotten options, right, to promote a certain solution, a resolution that we're working toward, right? The law of scarcity can work, but when we adopt a law of scarcity as a mindset, it actually works as an antithesis. It works against us. So when they talk about the law of scarcity, I'm reading this chapter. I'm like, man, it's like some of you sometimes after future leaders are like, did you guys have a conversation about me? And then you talked at future leaders about this thing that I'm like, future leaders is for everybody. But when I was reading this, I thought about all the things that, aside from just growing up in this great country that promotes this type of thinking that we don't have enough, I thought about some of the ways that both can promote the law of abundance, but then also things that can work against it. And the two things that came for me personally that work against it is social media. Like social media, if not anything, I mean, when I talk about, do you compare yourself to a neighbor, a colleague, a friend, like that's the scary thing I think about social media today is it almost like forces a comparison across strangers that we've never even known, interacted with, have no idea. Like it looks like they're living the private jet style, but it turns out that's just like a fake mirror. And it's all fake and made up. And yet it creates and instills this feeling inside of ourselves that we don't have enough. And then I thought about, for me personally, like, well, what's helped me combat being enough? I think number one was, working in Brooklyn, New York at a Title I school with kids from a low socioeconomic background where you saw every day, like, holy shit, here I was growing up as a kid complaining about both my parents doing certain things a certain way. And here's kids who had no parents. They're raised by their grandma, not even grandma and grandpa, their grandma. I had a lot of grandmas raising kids. And that really extended my perspective. And we don't all have that luxury where we go, but if we've lived in other places, I think it's pretty easy. I think we're intelligent enough people in this room where we can imagine ourselves in that scenario. And then I think another thing that happened to me was living in Mexico, living in another country where people aren't raised to relentlessly pursue more. They're raised to appreciate the family unit and be grateful for what they have, even if that means they're living in a house made of cinder blocks and they're reliant upon a person making probably less than $1,000 a month. I think I use those examples because those are the examples that it's money. Money comes up the most, right? Money is what we as Americans have used as like the indicator of what our enough is. And I'm telling you, like, it's just going to create this rat on the you're on the wheel and you're just running and running in circles, because the reality is it's taking our minds away from the things that really do matter and the things that we have sufficient use of or time for, and it's not allowing us to appreciate it. And so what ends up happening with the law of scarcity is you see these like 3 toxic myths, the book calls it, right? 3 toxic myths with the law of scarcity. Number 1, there's not enough to go around. There's not enough to go around. This is a conversation that Steve and I have had about sales leads, right? It's not a pie. One person getting leads doesn't take away leads from another person. That's kind of like human rights, right? One person getting rights doesn't mean you get less rights, right? It's not a pizza, right? There's abundance. Everyone should just have the rights. Everyone will get the leads. It might look a little different, right? But the idea that there's not enough to go around, right? Then what we're doing is we're creating this sense of competition, which only breeds toxicity. It's like judgment. It's negative competition. It's cutthroat. It's blame culture. It's all of those things are a product of thinking there's not enough. So I have to protect my resources that I get because these are mine. Shit, that's me growing up at one of 6 kids. Like, I am overly protective of things, even though it's like the best things in life aren't things. I can't help it. It's like the law of scarcity said, it's like if I go out to dinner, I got to eat all the food because I might not get enough, right? So number 1, there's not enough to go around, right? Number 2, more is better. More is better. If I just had more field professionals, if we just had more calls, if we just had more money, if we just had more opportunities, then if all of those things were true, then I would be successful. Like, all these things outside of our control dictate whether or not we've reached this outcome. More is better. I just need more. Not I can focus on conversion so that the number of opportunities is irrelevant. Not, hey, I can go about and structure my day and think about time and think about every single second as a valuable opportunity to improve myself and somebody else. How many times we talk about it? It's like when you look at like branches that have gone through doubling events, we didn't double the amount of leads they got. They just got better at converting the same amount of leads. Heck, I believe that we have a lower lead volume in HVAC sales this year, and yet our conversion is higher. And so our net revenue there is higher. The price has been pretty much negligible in terms of a change. And number 3, it's just like, whew, this one was painful to read because it's like the apathy myth. That's just the way it is. As I said that, I heard the Tupac changes on. That's just the way it is. Things will never be that. That's just. There's just never going to be enough. How many times do we say, like, this is just how the industry works? This is how it is. This is how people are. This is the trades. That's just the way it is, which traps us, right? As leaders, that is a crutch. That is a psychological trap that breeds cynicism, negativity, and resignation. Now I have no influence over the outcome, over the event. My response now no longer matters because it was already predestined to happen a certain way. And that just breeds apathy. Like we have no control and it doesn't matter because that's just the way it is. Instead of saying, well, what else is possible? What else can we do? How do we make this right? How do we get this person taken care of? How do I grow this person? What am I not doing that is not enabling this 23-year-old who's going into the homes of strangers? What am I not doing? Or what am I doing that is hindering their ability to be successful? Or that's just the way it is. There's not good. That's just the industry. Chad said something, I forget, it was a couple of weeks ago. I forget how he called it. It wasn't work-life balance. It was work-life something. Purpose. Work-life purpose. Thanks, Chad. Work-life purpose. I like work-life harmony, but it's crazy like how many of these conversations we talk about when we talk about leadership are just as applicable in our personal lives, right? I mean, the whole time I was reading this chapter of the book and thinking about our lecture today, think about it at home, right? It's like, I don't have enough time for my kids. I don't have enough time for my spouse, my partner, my health. That's my personal one right now. I don't have time to get back in shape. I don't have time to take care of literally like the vehicle that ensures whether or not I will continue living on this rock suspended in a sunbeam in the middle of the universe, right? It's like, oh no, this thing? Nah, no time for that. I don't have enough money. I don't. I can't enjoy this time that I've been given. I can't. I don't have enough money. When I man, I got some tangents today. This was one of my this might be my favorite chapter in the whole book. When I quit my job in New York, I had a beautiful apartment in the East Village, Manhattan. It was great. I had a great sales job at a tech startup, and I decided that I was tired of. I watched an episode of Game of Thrones, and one of the characters said he was tired of reading about the lives of better men. And I was tired of talking about traveling and not doing it. So I quit this great job. I left this great apartment. I came back home for a couple months and I was actually at Tyler Peterman's wedding. And I ran into like a high school friend's dad. And I ran into a lot of high school friends' dads, if you can imagine, on the South Side at that wedding. And they all found out what I was about to embark upon. And I won't use their words exactly. But it was really, basically to summarize, I'm a moron. I am dumb. Why are you giving up a great job? Why are you giving up you have a great life? And then I met this one, I talked to this one guy. I actually saw him at the Colts game on Sunday. And I told him, and I was just like, I was already at this point, just like I'd given up. I'm like, yeah, I quit. I'm going to go backpacking Central and South America. I know it's stupid. And he goes, good for effing you. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, I've been working every day since I was 16 years old. And I've been promised this thing that I'm working toward. This thing that I'm saving up for, this thing we have a name for. It's called retirement, right? This thing that I'm working hard every day for is retirement thing. So I can go do all the things that I want to do. But he's like, but by the time I retire, my body is not going to allow me to do the things that I want to do. So what's the point? Now, the message today, please don't leave with you're quitting your job. But if that is what's going to make, if that is going to bring you joy and make you a better person and then make you a better professional in the future and be a boomerang hire here, and it's going to make you even a better leader, boss, manager, colleague, teammate, whatever, then you have my support. What does abundance at home look like though, right? It's like, you know what? I'm going to be fully present for the 20 minutes that I have at dinner. I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to put my damn phone away And I'm going to be fully present because 20 minutes with my family is more valuable than being distracted for an hour. I'm going to recognize that I have enough money to cover the needs that I have. I am covering my needs, and that is enough. That's going to give me gratitude. It's going to give me peace and not stress over what's next. What's the next thing? What do we got to... And what about energy? We say that one all the time with scarcity, right? This person drains me. This person takes up my time. It's like we treat time like it's a resource. Time is relative. Watch Interstellar, one of my favorite movies of all time. Time is relative, right? You take an hour to have a conversation with one of your friends that you haven't talked to in a really long time, and an hour feels like 2 minutes. You have a 5-minute conversation with someone, it feels like it's a damn hour, right? Time is relative. What does fuel you? We talked about operating in your zone of genius. Those are the things that fuel you. Those are the things that make time disappear and turn it into the construct that it is, right? It's like, that's like why passion, your ikigai, or we talked about the Japanese concept of ikigai, is important. I don't have kids, but I think about a lot of folks that I interact with who do. My siblings as well. I have 5 siblings. They all have kids. I hear that all the time is I don't have enough time to spend meaningful time with my kids. And I'm like, man, that's tough. That's really hard. That sucks, right? But what about the time you do have? And is the time that you have enough? And I think what makes the time that we do have worse is by thinking psychologically that it wasn't enough, because now what you've done is you've robbed yourself from the fulfillment of that experience, even if it's minute, even if it's fleeting. It's like live in the now and live in the present. Oh, man, I love this topic. It's like bringing it back to like our professional experience, like every moment is an opportunity to improve ourselves and to improve others. We have enough. We have enough people. Do we need more? Sure. But we have enough. We have enough to operate this organization. We have enough leads. And we have enough time. And that one's tricky. We have enough time to coach and develop the people that we lead. We do. And if you think you don't, then what I would encourage you to do is take some time and pause in the middle of your dang day and close your eyes and take a second and slow down your breathing and do some reflection on how it is that you are using the time that we have. And something tells me that what you're going to find out is that the psychological mindset of the law of scarcity probably is operating most of your day in your personal and professional life. And what would it look like to switch that mindset over to one of gratitude, sure, but to one of enough, of abundance? What would it look like for your teammates, right? What would it look like for the people you lead? Catch yourself when you're saying not enough to what's possible. Spend some time. The book talks about meditating. That's something that I used to do that I got out of practice of. And I think, all right, meditating. Wait, hold on a second. That takes more time. But most things we talk about in this profession, right? It's you invest time on the front end to earn time on the back end, right? And I think that's just another tool that you have at your disposal. Start reflecting on the law of scarcity. Start thinking about how that's driving your ship. And take a moment to pause and reframe. It's just the way you think about it. Like, acknowledge it. When you're thinking that way, pause and just name it. Great leaders, they don't wait. They don't wait till they have more money. They don't wait till they have more time. They don't wait till they have more opportunity. They don't wait till they have more leads. They don't wait. They don't wait till they have more of everything. That is the rat race. Great leaders don't wait until they have more of everything. They succeed because they see what they already have is enough to lead well today, right now, in this moment. It can be micro successes that lead to ultimate success. But we have enough. And the last thing, because I know I'm at time, is you are enough. We could probably spend 30 minutes talking about that therapy session. You are enough. You are enough as a person, as a human being, as a professional, as a dad, as a mom, as a brother, as a friend. You are enough. Give yourself some grace. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG Arena. As always, keep growing out there.